Hello everyone, your favorite otter here. Today we're going to be doing the top 10 locations you might have missed in Fallout New Vegas. So even if you've beaten Fallout New Vegas, or you've reached the end game, or you've beaten all the DLCs, whatever it might be, here are 10 locations that you can still visit that can test your skills and give you a sense of exploration. So don't put down that controller just yet. Let's go check out these cool places. Number 10, the New Vegas Sewers. On the surface, New Vegas is dazzling and buzzing with life, but underneath it, well, it is teeming with life, but not so dazzling. The sewers are claustrophobic and features a variety of different enemies from fiends, ghouls, and rats. There are a few entrances you can utilize, like right here near Camp McCarran, near the Freeside Gates, near the Crimson Caravan, in the North Vegas Square, and the East Pump Station. Those manholes on the ground are not just decoration. You can actually enter them, and you can find a pretty large world underneath New Vegas, which is pretty freaking cool. While exploring, make sure to use your local map to avoid getting lost. As I said, these tunnels are pretty claustrophobic. It is easy to lose your way, and I do have to say, being down here is pretty scary. Now, there aren't that many difficult enemies besides a few glowing ones, depending on your level, but it is a lot of fun, and I do think it's actually a bit scary. Also, I want to point out the entrance in between the East Pump Station and Vault 34 is an actual sewer pipe. And then on the northern part of the New Vegas sewers, we can actually find a little community. However, as that old lady said, it is a bit of a shithole. Everyone in here is poor, there's a lot of drug addicts and stuff like that. Now, these sewers would provide a really good escape if you are enemies with the NCR. You could easily attack NCR locations such as Camp McCarran and then escape through the sewers. Over here we can see a family living down here. Not a great place to raise a child, but hey. And then, of course, in the northwestern part of the sewers, we can find the Thorn. The Thorn is very famous. It is located just beneath Westside, and here we can have a lot of fun. You can bet on matches between different enemies of the Mojave Wasteland. For example, I'd bet it on these Cazadors fighting, and, well, my Cazador lost. That's a bit sad. But you can bet on different animals. You can also set up fights between creatures. Like here I set up a fight between a Deathclaw and two Cazadors. If you ever wondered who would win, Deathclaw won. But the Cazadors did inflict a lot of damage. If we put some more Cazadors in there, well, they might have a chance. And then, of course, you can test out your skill and fight in the arena yourself. Here I fought 3 Deathclaws. It is fun, but using the riot shotgun and the anti-material rifle, it is a bit overpowered. And worth mentioning is Red Lucy here, who operates the Thorn, has a really good late game quest called Bleed Me Dry. You'll have to go around the Mojave Wasteland collecting eggs for the Thorn of various creatures. This quest is pretty difficult, and it'll send you to a lot of remote locations, some of which are featured in this video. Also, while you're down here, keep your eye out for the Humble Cudgel, which is a unique melee weapon that we can find in the game. While the New Vegas sewers are not so challenging, they are kind of scary, and I do think it is really cool because it is right beneath our feet this entire time. Number 9, Deathclaw Promontory. This might be the most famous unmarked location in any Fallout game, which is why it is only number 9 because I suspect many people have heard about it. However, if you haven't heard of Deathclaw Promontory, then I envy you because you can experience it for the first time. This location is unique because it is east of the Colorado River. There are not too many locations in the game that are east of the Colorado River. Now, Obsidian did want more locations east, just they didn't have enough time to do it. Damn it, it sucks so bad that this game was rushed. East of Tachadakit Mine, this location might be the most difficult location in the game. It is a large plateau that is filled with 36 Deathclaws in total, ranging in level depending on your level from alpha males, Deathclaw mothers, and normal Deathclaws. It'll take the best of your arsenal and mini nukes to survive here, but it is surely a fun way to test your skills. For your hard work, you can get the body armor of the Remnant's Power Armor. Now, I do have to say, I died a lot upon returning to this location with my other character. This location is a true test of your skill. However, a location that we'll talk about later is more difficult, at least in my opinion, just because it is close quarters combat. But this location is really amazing, and it just feels really special because it's so out of the way from the rest of the game. But there is some other stuff east of the Colorado that we'll talk about later. Number 8, the Devil's Throat. This is the northeasternmost location on the map, and it features a giant hole, well, a sinkhole. Based on the real-world sinkhole of the same name, the Devil's Throat features a rather large army of super mutants in the area and several centaurs. Making your way into the trailer, and you will find the CZ57 Avenger, a unique variant of the minigun, and a party hat to relive your youth of playing RuneScape. To the northwest, assuming you have the Wild Wasteland perk, we can find an undetonated atomic bomb that's the same asset from Megaton in Fallout 3. There are several super mutants around the bomb, and there will be a large gunfight that breaks out. I'm sure having a gunfight around an undetonated nuclear bomb is perfectly safe. Then, just to the south of the crater, we can find 2 caves filled with ghouls. Why are they here? How did they get here? Who knows, but we can easily dispatch them with that awesome new minigun that we just got, and we can do it with style with that new party hat that we just got. This location is pretty cool. It isn't too challenging besides some of the super mutant masters if you're a high enough level, but it has a lot of really good loot, such as the atomic bomb. You can disarm or remove some of the components in order to get some energy ammo and stuff like that, so that's pretty good. And also a very good weapon is found here. Number 7, Deadwind Cavern. Personally, I believe Deadwind Cavern is more challenging than Deathclaw Promontory. While both locations are very difficult, this location, I think, takes the cake. Deadwind Cavern is located just southwest of Novak, as you can see right here on the Pip-Boy. And as I was saying before, while there are less Deathclaws overall than Deathclaw Promontory, we are forced to fight them in a confined area. During Red Lucy's quest, Bleed Me Dry, this is one of the possible locations to retrieve a large amount of Deathclaw eggs. However, using a stealth boy can be pretty effective at sneaking past all the Deathclaws, getting the eggs, and then leaving. But this is a very difficult fight. I did use a stealth boy, and I did use mini nukes. I used everything in my arsenal, and it was still very challenging. How on earth I survived that mini nuke blowing up, taking a hit from a Deathclaw mother, and then being forced up on this ledge, I will never know. So there is a bit of luck involved when going through here, just to be aware. Outside of the cave, we have a family of Deathclaws, and once we're inside, we are immediately greeted with 4 Deathclaws. So right from the very beginning, we have a pretty nasty challenge on our hands. Also, a shout out to this Viper gang member who scared the shit out of me, chasing me from so far away, but hey, you gotta respect the commitment. I personally think this location is far more intimidating than Deathclaw Sanctuary from Fallout 3. If you've played through Deathclaw Sanctuary, I do think that location is very easy compared to this place. After dispatching all of the Deathclaws, including a legendary Deathclaw, we can find Mercy, a unique variant of the grenade machine gun, and additionally we can find some Brotherhood of Steel T45D power armor, so not half bad. I don't know if it's worth all the trouble for that loot, but it is a good test of your skills and of your grit. So, if you're brave enough, go on and check it out. Number 6, Brewer's Beer Bootlegging. This is perhaps one of the most underrated locations in all of New Vegas. This location features a bootleg brewery producing a beer called Strategic Nuclear Moose. Man, I hope someone makes this beer one day because what an epic name. Located just west of the Sunset Sarsaparilla headquarters, this is a pretty small shack with a hidden area where the beer is obviously produced. Now outside we can find the body of Gord, who, unfortunately for him, was killed by Cazadors. But we can assume he was responsible for this brewery. But if you return after a few days, Gord will magically come back to life, only to be, well, once again, killed by the Cazadors. And that is the main thing I wanted to discuss. While Brewer's Beer Bootlegging is a great location in of itself, behind it, we can find a giant nest of Cazadors. It's one of the locations with the most amount of Cazadors in the game. So if you want a place to test out your Cazador fighting skills, this is it. Aim for the wings or use fire. It's up to you, but best of luck. After fighting and finding some reinforced combat armor, you can enjoy a majestic view of New Vegas to the east. This is actually one of my favorite views of New Vegas. But yeah, this location, while it might seem innocent enough at first, is actually pretty darn difficult. So if you're brave enough, you can venture on out here. Number 5, Lakelurk Cove. This location is similar to Deathclaw Promontory in that this is an unmarked location on the east side of the Colorado River. Now I put it at number 5 ahead of Deathclaw Promontory, mainly because I think it's less famous than its Deathclaw counterpart. It is directly across from Blue Paradise Vacation Rentals and Cottonwood Cove. Now, Blue Paradise Vacation Rentals is already kind of an obscure location that I'm sure many players miss, so we'll also take a look at that place. Also, it is filled with Lakelurks. And then, as you can guess based on the name, Lakelurk Cove is filled with a metric fuck ton of Lakelurks, so make sure you're packing some weapons and stuff, otherwise you'll be fish food. Now, this cove also features a small cave and a boat, and there's also some reinforced combat armor inside of this cave, alongside some unfortunate souls that were killed by some Lakelurks. Now, as I approached Blue Paradise Vacation Rentals, I found out that my grenade machine gun, for whatever reason, was doing no damage to the Lakelurks. I don't know why that is, so I switched to my anti-material rifle for the remainder of this fight, the old reliable. But both of these locations are pretty fun. You can actually go inside some of the huts at Blue Paradise Vacation Rentals, and Lakelurk Cove itself is actually pretty big and it's pretty cool, just this small little cove on the Colorado River. Number 4, Silver Peak Mine and Ruby Hill Mine. I decided to cheat a little bit and kind of have two locations here, mainly because they're in the same part of the map near Jacobstown, and well, they're both mines. Both mines are a bit off the main road, and they're a bit easy to miss. Now, Ruby Hill Mine is further down near the main highway, and it is significantly easier than Silver Peak Mine. Inside, we will find it is inhabited by a gang of Lakelurks, and a large fight will ensue, and eventually you'll find the flooded main chamber. Here we can find some crates holding a lot of explosives, but unless you have 75 lockpick, you won't be able to open all of them. But nearby is a dead Jackal gang member which has a key to the crate that requires 75 lockpicks. So hey, you're in luck. Also on the dead Jackal is Pushy, which is a unique variant of the Displacer glove. Now if we dive underneath the water, we can find a dead super mutant which has a multi-plus rifle on him. And at the bottom of the flooded chamber, we can find a table with some playing cards. And it appears these 4 skeletons were playing blackjack, well, before they died. Heading up the road towards Silver Peak Mine, we're going to find this very open area on our right. I just wanted to point out this area because I'm sure many players skip it or they never go here. You can actually climb up very far on this mountain, almost towards the top near the snowy part, and up here you can get some truly majestic views of New Vegas and the Mojave Desert. Now heading on to Silver Peak Mine, make sure you're ready for an epic battle. We have to fight waves of everyone's favorite, Cazadors. So make sure you come ready with VATS for their wings or some fire, whatever it is that you prefer. After fighting your way through the mine and the Cazadors, you can find the helmet of the Remnant's power armor. The body piece is guarded by Deathclaws and the helmet is guarded by Cazadors. How poetic. However, as you come up on the top section, a legendary Cazador will spawn along with several other Cazadors, blocking your only exit and forcing you to fight it. Good luck. Number 3, Red Rock Canyon Pass. Of course, Red Rock Canyon is home to the Great Khans, but did you know you can actually travel from Red Rock Canyon to Jacobstown directly? That's right. Behind Red Rock Canyon is a pass, and this pass, albeit it is filled with Cazadors, connects Red Rock Canyon to Jacobstown. Now, getting up the slope from Red Rock Canyon can be incredibly difficult. However, apparently some people have accomplished it. But for me, it's easier to do some wall jumping, go around, and then we're in the pass. To do this, head to the smaller pass to the south. This pass actually goes around too, and it's filled with cazadors. And then you can jump up on the side of the canyon here. And from here, you really just want to hug the wall. At times, it might feel like you're gonna fall off, but trust me, you won't. If you just hug the wall with your controller, or if you're on PC with the keys, you will be okay. Of course, on PC, you could always do like God mode or something and just fly, but that's besides the point. If you're on console, like I am, this is the only way that I know of that is easy to replicate every time. I've never failed it, just hug. This pass is supposed to be accessed from Jacobstown, and then you can walk to Red Rock Canyon, but using some clever jumping, we can circumvent that. Now, showing the proper way to use the pass, when I fast traveled to Jacobstown, I found there was a cazador that spawned inside of Jacobstown, along with this green mantis, and the cazador's poison actually killed the super mutant. I have never seen a cazador spawn in Jacobstown, so I just thought that was really cool. But on to the pass. If you want to get to the pass from Jacobstown, just hug the mountain to the south and walk around it. It's pretty easy to do, and actually on your mini-map or the world map, you can see the carving of the canyon, Red Rock Pass, on the world map, so just kind of follow your map if you get lost. But like I said, this will not be a peaceful hike through a canyon. There are a fuck ton of cazadors. Eventually, you'll find this small clearing with a super mutant, and on the super mutant, we can find a fat man. One of the few fat mans in Fallout New Vegas that can just be looted instead of bought. So make sure to pick it up if you are fat man-less. However, if you're going to this location, I suspect you already have a fat man. Additionally, you will be brought here during Red Lucy's quest, Bleed Me Dry. So there is one quest in the game that'll bring you to this rather obscure location. But I really love it. It really feels like you're exploring and venturing outside of the map. Kind of a new area. It kind of goes around the outside of the map, which is really freaking cool. And just something that I'm sure most players are unaware of. So if you have the weapons, I'd highly recommend checking it out. Number 2, Vault 19. Of course, since this is Fallout, we have to include at least one vault. And I believe that Vault 19 is the least transverse vault in Fallout New Vegas, mainly because it's hidden in the western part of the map, and it's surrounded by Deathclaws and cazadors, so why on earth would anyone venture over here? Additionally, this vault has no quest leading you to it. For example, Vault 3, Vault 34, Vault 11, they all have quests that will take you to the vault eventually. Well, with Vault 11, it's a Caesar's Legion quest, but still, there are quests that lead you to those vaults. With this vault, there is nothing leading you here. Underneath this kind of obscure parking lot, we will find that this is actually a pretty lively community of powder gangers. We learn quickly that not all is well in this vault, though. There are two things going on. First, there is a disagreement between the vault's two leaders, Samuel Cook and Philip Lim. Ironically, this vault was designed to have two leaders, or two overseers, each overseeing separate sectors, Red Sector and Blue Sector. The vault's residents were lied to, manipulated, fed rumors, and told to distrust the other sector. What resulted was a vault community deeply divided, scared, and eventually it collapsed. And throughout the vault, we can find various terminals in Blue Sector and Red Sector where vault residents express their paranoia about the opposing sector, such as this terminal, where this poor Blue Sector resident believes that the Red Sector is making him see things such as a star on a bottle cap, when in reality that star is just a Star Sunset Sarsaparilla bottle cap. But hey, he went crazy over it, so I think it's pretty funny. Now today, the powder gangers face a similar dilemma. Samuel Cook wants to eliminate the fire geckos in the caves that are attached to the vault, and then he wants his convicts to join the Great Khans. Meanwhile, Philip Lim wants to turn himself in and his other convicts to the NCR. Of course, these are the same escaped convicts from the NCR correctional facility near Prim. Now, these guys, though, are held up in this vault, attacking caravans and whatever else they can get their hands on. So, who will you side with? Will you support Samuel Cook, or will you support Philip Lim? Number 1, Camp Guardian. If you have never been here or have no idea what I'm talking about, then I truly envy you. This is without a doubt one of the coolest experiences I've had in any video game, let alone a Fallout game. And I didn't even learn about it until last year during my Unexplored Mojave series. Located in the far northeastern part of the map, just southeast of Bitter Springs, you will find Camp Guardian. As you approach from the west, which is how I recommend you approach, we're going to find this parking lot that leads to a hiking trail. Camp Guardian features 2 locations, technically, Camp Guardian and Guardian Peak. Based on the real-world Guardian Peak, a popular hiking destination, the in-game location features much the same. The first time you approach, you'll pick up a radio signal, which will start the unmarked quest, Help for Halford. We learn that Halford is the last survivor of the NCR soldiers that were stationed here, and he needs our help. As we make our way up the mountain, we will find 11 notes detailing the story of the NCR soldiers sent here. I highly recommend picking up the notes and reading them. These letters tell a pretty terrifying story about what happened to these soldiers. Additionally, we learn about just how thin the NCR is stretched, nepotism within the NCR, and the NCR's incompetence. These soldiers started hearing noises before they were taken inside the mountain by some kind of creature. When we get to the top, we find nothing but giant rats and a camp that has been raided and picked through. Across from us is the fort, so we can easily understand why the NCR wanted to set up a camp here. Behind the camp, we can find a cave. As we go inside and we make our way down, we will find Private Halford. He is scared and injured. After helping him, we can either instruct him to leave or to follow us. However, telling him to follow us will almost certainly lead to his death. As we make our way further down, we encounter the monster that the NCR soldiers were talking about, Lakelurks. We have to fight off several waves of them before we can get to the bottom, where the dead NCR soldiers and caravans will be found. These poor souls. This screams something out of a 1950s horror movie. This location is truly remarkable. Everything from the environment, the music, and the notes that you find as you make your way up, the desolate nature of the area, and everything else make for a perfect location that is haunting, challenging, and so much fun. If you have never been here, I cannot recommend this place enough. Alright everyone, and there you have it, my top 10 places that you might have missed in Fallout New Vegas. Of course, you might have other locations that you think are obscure and really cool, so if so, please leave them in the comments section below. Remember, this is my opinion. Please go ahead and share your ideas in the comments below. I'd be interested to read them. Also, I'll link videos from the Unexplored Mojave to all of these locations in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something, and as always, until next time.